Coming up on the GRIMM EXCHANGE.
When nature strikes back, we're looking at creature features with the guys from Book of Monsters that remind us to be kinder to the environment.
And we chat about A Wrong Turn to Hell as Don Anelli is with us today to review Don't Look.
And we're getting a sneak peek into our upcoming Q&A with the team behind the Australian horror mystery thriller Sweet River. This and more on today's episode of
The GRIMM EXCHANge.
Hey horror fans, I'm Mariam.
And I'm Marcus, and welcome to the GRIMM EXCHANge, your one-stop shop for all your horror entertainment news needs.
To stay up to date with all our content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. No rest for the wicked in the world of horror. Let's check out our latest horror headlines.
Shudder, the Netflix for horror, shows that if you have your own platform, you can stream whatever you want. And it is also a great space for less traditional horror movies. One that springs to mind is Slacks, the film about a possessed pair of jeans that are brought to life to punish the unscrupulous practices of the trendy clothing company. Shipped to the company's flagship store, Slacks proceeds to wreak carnage on staff locked in overnight to set up the new collection. The trailer is out now, ahead of the film coming to Shudder on March 18th. I think I'm going to swap full-time to chinos. We also got a first look at CG Entertainment's remake of Hide and Seek. In a press release from Saban Films, who have the rights for North America, the UK and Ireland, they describe the remake as a social horror thriller that builds on themes related to the widening gap between the upper 1% and the lower class. They go on to say that as population in urban areas balloon and real estate prices skyrocket, lower income segments of society are finding themselves continually getting pushed out. This film explores the question of what if, when those left marginalised decide to take matters and homes into their own hands. The film will see Dracula's Jonathan Rhys-Meyers lead alongside Jacinda Barrett from Bloodline, Joe Pantoliano from The Sopranos, and Mustafa Shakir from Luke Cage. This month sees the Resident Evil franchise celebrating its 25th anniversary, and fans are doing their bit to celebrate too. A group of talented fans have created a mod for the original Resident Evil 2 game titled Resident Evil During the Storm. It is what is known as a total conversion mod, which will be based on the Resident Evil 2 framework and is a completely new story. It follows Kevin Ryman, one of the characters from Resident Evil Outbreak, at the very start of the zombie spreading. You'll be tasked with fighting threats from both the outside and inside, and you'll have to make sure to manage what supplies there are, and hopefully you can bring everyone out of this alive. You can check out the trailer and more information at biohazardcast.com. It's also been confirmed that the eagerly anticipated Resident Evil Village game will have 2 different versions. This comes after the game would have to be censored quite a lot for the release in Japan. The Japanese version will have no decapitation and feature much less blood, so this gives us an idea of just how gory this game will be. While we're on the subject of video games, a new gameplay video has come out for Alien Fireteam, which has been released by Cold Iron Studios. The game is set 23 years after the events of Alien 3 and sees you take control of a member of one of the Colonial Marines fire teams as you're sent to the human-inhabited locations across 4 campaigns to deal with the xenomorphs. The game will use a class system where you can play either as a gunner, demolisher, technician, doc or recon, and allows you to team up with your friends online. Aliens Fireteam is expected to arrive this summer on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series and PC via Steam. While there is no release date yet, we can be excited in the knowledge that Sci-Fi will be playing host to a series based on Child's Play titled Chucky. The show will be brought to life by Don Mancini himself. Brad Dourif will return to voice the psychotic titular character, and now we know that Jennifer Tilly will also be starring in the series. Fans of the franchise will know Tilly is no stranger to the franchise, having portrayed Chucky's paramour, Tiffany Valentine, since Bride of Chucky in 1998. Chucky takes place in a small town that is thrown into utter chaos when a Chucky doll shows up at a local yard sale. After a number of murders take place, the town's secrets come out of the woodwork. It will also take a dive into the origin story of the deadly doll himself. As we've mentioned on a previous episode, we all need to start somewhere with our horror viewing. And for me, growing up, it was with the TV adaptation of the Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine. R.L. is still busy creating more scary stories for kids, having said he's working on a new 6-book deal, and we've had 2 new films over recent years, and we now have the live action series on the way too. While it was announced about a year ago, it's only now that a director has been confirmed, but we don't know who yet. Answering a question from a fan on Twitter, RL explained, "We have a producer and a director signed for the new Goosebumps TV series." He then went on to add, "More news to come soon." I think there's only one thing to say about that for now, and that is, viewer beware, you're in for a scare. Those are your horror headlines. When it comes to our environment, we are slowly learning not to take it for granted. Between chopping down rainforests, drying out lakes, and global warming, there have been news headlines for years drawing attention to our neglect of Mother Nature. But what if nature didn't strike back the way we expected it to? Today, we're looking at creature features that comment on how we treat our planet. With us are Stewart Sparke and Paul Butler, the guys behind the action-packed horror comedy Book of Monsters.
Creature features have always been a staple in horror, with the main monster ranging from real-life animals like alligators, sharks, and apes, to mutated creations like Godzilla, The Thing, or whatever the hell that was. These creatures have terrorized viewers of all ages on screen for many years and continue to do so today. In general terms, these films were popular and still are because the creature speaks to an age-old human fear of predatory animals, an unseen danger, lurking close perhaps underwater, or hiding in the depth of the night. This is a primal fear within us, which was also a basic survival skill for our ancient ancestors. These creatures bring up existing anxieties in our fragile relationship with non-human others on Earth. And while we are fascinated by giant monsters and extinct beasts, let's be honest, it's also a great opportunity to sit back and enjoy the special effects that go into creating them. Although popular for years, there was a decline in the 1990s for this subgenre, but creature features came back with a vengeance in the mid-2000s, and since then, there has been a steady output of animal-based horror. What has given rise to this subgenre and makes it so prevalent today? Let's take a deeper look. Horror holds up the mirror to our societal wrongdoings and fears, and creature features are a great example of a subgenre that does this in a fun but impactful way. They are what we consider eco-horror, a term that describes narratives in which humans are attacked by natural forces. These are mostly animals, but sometimes even plants that have been mistreated or experimented on by humans. Stewart Sparke, director of Book of Monsters, tells us what he and writer Paul Butler think.
So obviously Paul and I are huge fans of monster movies in general, because we like to make them. The great thing about monster movies is quite often the monster is like a representation of nature getting revenge on humanity for past deeds that they did. So Godzilla was a great example with the nuclear bombs.
Eco-horror has been around since the 1950s, when nuclear fears started to grow, resulting in probably the most famous example of the subgenre, The Wrath of Godzilla. Numerous classics followed, serious as well as trashy entries, like birds protecting their coastal location in Hitchcock's masterpiece, a ferocious shark aggravated by the visitors in his territory in Jaws, genetically altered fish in Piranha, animals fighting back the littering and insecticide spraying couple in The Long Weekend, radioactive creatures from the sewers in Chud, or toxic waste leading to the birth of the Toxic Avenger. And while these movies were effective in their day, the real-life horror of climate change has brought the eco-creature feature back to the forefront for modern audiences.
What we really like as a subgenre is when nature has been directly tampered with by man. So you've got like Del Toro's Mimic, you've got Deep Blue Sea, things like that where nature has been directly fucked with by humanity and they've caused the monster to come to light. That's always really fun for us.
Pesticides, CO2 emissions, pollution, oil spills, littering, deforestation, all leading to severe losses of the world's biodiversity. These are just a few of the ways the human disregard for natural order paved the way for a clash between man and beast. In this new slew of movies, animals fight back harder than ever against human exploitation, trying to regain their territory. They dive into that primordial fear we have that nature will take revenge against us for how we have ravished our resources and bent it to our will. The finest examples of the genre manage to combine thrills and great characters with a strong ecological premise. In Crawl, a massive hurricane leads to alligators being flooded into neighborhoods. They quickly make home in the crawl space of a family house, the very foundation of our home territory. In The Host, a monster created by chemicals and trash being dumped into the Han River is out to hunt and eat humans, our own trash coming back to bite us in the ass. Human meddling in genetics is the theme of the dark comedy Black Sheep, where the animals get their revenge by turning us into half-sheep monstrosities. Studying global warming, a team of scientists discovered a red liquid in the glaciers of the Austrian Alps in Blood Glacier. Once digested by the native animals, it breeds a hybrid creature longing for more than their usual diet. While the revenge of nature narrative was also true for older creature features, new animal/eco horror suggests that we deserve what we get from messing with the balance of nature. This turn towards blaming humans represents the growing environmental concerns of our generation. Moreover, it shifts the sympathy towards the creatures. In these new films, humans are the predators, and nature rightfully strikes back against us as punishment for environmental disruption. Horror once again holds that mirror up to society, showing us the ugly consequences of our actions, a world we still have to live in when we leave the movie. Now that is really scary.
And now it's time to play our wild card segment. The Grimm Zone.
This episode's Grimm Zone is sponsored by Fire and Brimstone. Fire and Brimstone offers curious and wonderful witchy goodies. Want some light in your life? Check out their range of 100% soy candles that contain either a moon-charged healing crystal or a witchy pin badge. Watch the wax melt and your goth heart flutter as you get to choose skulls or bats. Want to flaunt your witchiness? Fire and Brimstone also offers a wide range of jewelry, from crystal rings to resin necklaces. When the world is going to hell, it's time to treat your witchy self with Fire and Brimstone. If you want to get your witchy fix and spend over £20, please go to this shop and type in that promo code and get 10% off.
For this, we're going to be calling Paul and Stewart back for a while to play a little game.
Sticking with the creature feature theme, we are going to play Guess That Sound Monster Edition. To make sure the blow isn't too hard, whilst you hear the sounds, we will be showing you pictures of puppies.
So here we are, we're going to guess the monster movie sound, which should be really fun. See what you guys have cooked up for us. So, Paul, let's do this.
So bad at this.
Yes, we go terribly wrong. Sound number one. Let's do it. So that's an obvious one, I think.
Yeah.
We both know. What do you think, Paul?
That's a JCB crane, I think. Moving across. Godzilla. I don't know which Godzilla though, to be honest. I don't know if you know the specific.
Well, I think that's the sound they've used throughout, because that same sound is used in. Yeah. They've used a version of that sound for all the different Godzilla movies since, I think. Here we go, sound number 2. I think I know what that is.
I think I might know, but you guess first.
I'm gonna say.
Then I can pretend I know. No.
I'm gonna say the xenomorph from Aliens, because it's like a.
I was gonna say.
Or Tremors, the graboids from Tremors, because those little snake arms out the mouth also make a hiss sound. So.
I thought it might be Stranger Things. You know those that thing that.
The Demogorgon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm gonna say you're completely wrong.
I am probably completely wrong.
Oh look! It was Xeno from Alien.
We take the first answer, yours.
Sound number 3. I don't know what that
Can we
was.
replay that? Is that one of our knowns from Book of Monsters?
Let's try it. Let me rewind that. Let's go for another listen of that one.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that was.
It sounds like a gremlin, but it's not.
Yeah, or a critter or something.
Is it like Ghoulies or something?
It could be. I don't know.
It feels like a B-movie version of a gremlin.
We're gonna be so wrong on this. Let's see what it is. Oh, it was critters. He shoots his head off, doesn't he? Brilliant. Close.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
That's really hard, man. Really
I'm not
short.
sure. Yeah, it was so short. I'm not sure what that one was.
Play it again.
Yeah, hang on. Let's play it again. Let's have another go.
I feel like I'm gonna know that, but I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, we're at a complete loss here. Let's see what it is. Mothra. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm pretty crap at that kind of stuff. Like, I love the Godzilla movies, but especially the old 60s onwards ones. I'm not too up on what each monster sounds like, I'm afraid.
That's a hard one.
That's an obvious one, surely. You know that one, Paul.
I should know that one.
Come on! Kill me, come on!
Is that Predator? Oh, gosh.
Get to the chopper!
That's like my favourite monster movie.
Your favourite movie?
My favourite monster. And I'm like, who's that?
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant.
It was that roar at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah. I was going to say the T-Rex eating someone at the beginning, but then it sounded like something completely different after that.
As good a guess as any. I'm struggling at this.
Let's try again. I don't know at all. That's another one that I'm completely lost on. I kind of want to know. Oh my god! The Quiet Place monsters. I would not. That's so. Yeah, I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
It's not what I'd call an iconic kind of sound. I'm afraid I've failed there completely.
We're now slagging off the quiz because we're not good enough.
Yes. Who came up with this, Mariam? Come on.
Just from the background music, it sounds quite old.
That's like a Universal monster type thing, like the Wolfman or something.
Yeah,
Let's
something
listen
like
to it.
Yeah, I think something like that.
It's either the Wolfman or like Creature from the Black Lagoon or something along those lines. Can we guess twice? 2 of those things? Oh, it's the Gill Man. There you go.
Close.
It's so close. So close. Right, next one. I don't think we're doing very well.
We're terrible. I'm not keeping score, but
This is so hard.
well.
Here we go. That's like another like 60s film sound effect.
My film references go as far back as the 80s.
That's
As
it.
far
They don't go
forward
any
as the
further.
80s as well, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like the sound of the pod people in Body Snatchers when they're like replicating somebody or something. But yeah, I don't know. Let's find out. The giant ant from them. I would have never gotten that.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. I do really want to. We should remake that.
I heard like British twang. I was gonna say like Dog Soldiers or something. Let's listen to it again. I don't know actually.
I don't know whether that could be like a Jurassic Park type. It sounds like a bit of a lion roar.
I don't know. It sounds older, like it was made older than that. But then it sounds like it could be like a gorilla type thing, like King Kong. We're doing terrible. Let's find out. Let's find out. I need to know what this is. Gorgo. I've never seen that.
No.
Terrible. Our credibility has just gone down the toilet.
Wild card is this last chance.
Wild card. We're not gonna get it, so here we go. Sounds like loads of like rats. It's like Willard or something like that. Just a plague of rats. Or from Rats. The Rats. Is that a film? There's a film about loads of killer rats. Let's see. Let's see what it is. Oh my god.
Close.
Brilliant. I would have never gotten that in a million years, but that was brilliant. That was like, such a good choice for a monster. Well, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the amazing quiz that made us look terrible. Like, our monster credibility is gone. I'm going to tear up this t-shirt after this. But no, very good quiz, very hard. That's a good pub quiz round to have, definitely. Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's really hard.
I would have gotten maybe like, I don't know, 2 right?
5 friends decide to leave the city for a gorgeous weekend getaway. What could possibly go wrong? Well, this is a show about horror, so yeah, a lot can go wrong actually. And that's exactly what the 2018 film Don't Look is all about. Here with us today is reviewer Don Anelli to give us his views on the film.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Don Anelli, and today for Women in Horror Month on the GRIMM Exchange, I'm going to be taking a look at Don't Look. It's written, directed, and starring, hope I don't butcher your name here, Luciana Faulhaber. Again, so sorry if I mispronounce it. Basically, she is part of a group of people that travel to a remote house out in the middle of the countryside after inheriting it to have a party, and basically discover that there's this savage killer on the land stalking them and killing them one by one. So as you can tell from that, not necessarily the most original or most creative film. It's definitely an indie. It's not necessarily splashy or grand or spectacle, but it more than makes up for it with with a lot of heart. It's a very old school based slasher, very simple, very to the point. You definitely get a lot of nice stalking scenes. It plays a lot with the environment, and it gets a lot of you get a lot of enjoyment out of the setup and all of the different scenes set up around the house and the fields outside. Kills are pretty brutal, not necessarily original, but they're definitely a lot more brutal than you would expect. And in general, it's a pretty zippy film. It barely runs like 80 minutes, I think. I think it's like 82, 83, including credits, so it's really fast, gets in and out. So yeah, you can probably do a lot worse, especially in terms of modern retro slasher throwbacks. But if you're into that kind of a thing, you could definitely do a lot worse. It's pretty fun. If you know what you're getting into, like I said, it's an indie film, so you got to keep that in mind. Don't Look is a pretty decent film. Again, female-directed lead. She's the writer and main star. You can check it out if you want. I think it's available on most streaming services. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. If you're interested in checking out my work, you can find me online. I go by my name pretty much everywhere, so that easy to find. Thank you once again for having me, and talk to you guys again.
If you want to catch more of Don's reviews, interviews and articles, follow his work on donshorrorworld.blogspot.com.
We here at the Grimm Exchange absolutely love horror films. Usually we introduce you to independent filmmakers that we have here on our channel, Grimmfest TV. However, we have an exciting co-op with Grimmfest for their Easter Horror Nights, which will be running from April 1st to April 5th. So for that, we are going to take sneak peeks of Q&As that will be running throughout the festivals and introduce you to the latest independent horror filmmakers. For that, as always, let's head to the Grimmfest basement. Ah, yes. What have we here? Interesting. Sweet River. Now, like I said, this is a slightly unusual situation. Rather than conducting a full interview with our guests, we will be having a sneak peek of the Q&A coming up at the festival. So let's see what the cast and crew behind Sweet River have to say to us today.
We started this process as a couple of storytellers that have been confined in a commercial market for so long, and it's been an eternal dream to tell a long form story, to make a feature film. And they're really hard, they're hard to get off the ground. It's hard to find a story worth telling. It's hard to find actors that are interested.
The location of Sweet River was almost a character in itself. It was leveraging the Ozploitation angle that has been a well-trodden road in Australian film.
I think when you see things that maybe could be construed as something, I don't know, a bit weird or supernatural, your logic overtakes, doesn't it? Of course there's an explanation for it. It's something logical at the end of the day. I don't think just because, I don't know, I see often a lot of horror movies or supernatural things where they accept it very quickly that is real. And I don't think we do as humans. I think we always have a logical or find a logical explanation to things rather than immediately go, oh yes, of course, it's ghosts.
There's a lot of screenplays in desk drawers everywhere. But Ash, Juz, Lisa, the team made a film, and making a low budget film, and I'm just hearing 17 days when I think about the result.
I can't believe we did that.
I am very intrigued to see what all this is about. And to give us a little bit of a tastemaker, we've got a trailer for you today. So let's hit play.
So you got a visitor at your place?
Yeah, some English woman's renting the cottage.
Yeah, well, you know who she is.
How old is your little girl?
She passed.
I'm sorry. Why do you always have to talk like she's gone?
Because she is, Eleanor. I don't know what you're expecting to find here, but this town isn't one for opening up old wounds.
I'm not a journalist.
What are you?
A mother. My son's body was never found.
You can't keep poking around here by yourself. Not everyone is friendly in villains.
Why did you stop looking for my son? We were supposed to harvest that very field the day after the accident, but now we never will. I talk to Violet all the time. Is that what you're doing out in the fields at night? Violet. Shh. They are all angels, and they don't ever leave us.
What you saw is in your head.
My son's in that field. They're all in there.
This place will drive you mad.
If it was your son, would you let it go?
Well, sadly, that is all we have time for on today's episode of the GRIMM EXCHANGE.
Remember to support the horror industry by watching films, playing games, and reading books.
And speaking of films, don't forget to check out the rest of Grimmfest TV to watch the marvelously morbid makings of the independent filmmakers we work together with.
And finally, special thanks to our sponsors, Fire and Brimstone. We'll see you next time on
The GRIMM EXCHANge.
If I can